Hello, am I audible? Good morning, all. Allow me a minute. I'm just trying to filling out the slide deck. Okay, fine. Let me share my screen. Hope today there is no issues. Are you able to hear me loud and clear? Can somebody unmute and say? Srini, are you able to hear me? Srini, are you able to hear me? I am not able to hear anything though. Vijay, are you able to hear me? Srini, I think I have some audio issues today out. Are you able to hear me? Can somebody give me loud and clear? Okay, fine. Okay. I think I am having some audio issues, so let's continue. So today's agenda, yesterday we started studying about the loops and if-elses. These are the two topics that we are going to cover today. And the functionalities, if you could remember the functionality of a cursor, the cursor is giving us a looping construct in SQL Server. Typically, if you have written a select query and you want to travel through each row of the select query, at that point in time you used cursor. And cursor is a iterative approach of traveling one by one item or one by one row within the select query. But there may be a lot of situation where you no need to travel through the select query, result of the select query. There can be a situation where you want to travel through the select query, result of the select query. There may be another requirement where you may be only wanting to do some kind of loop. Loop means you want to do the same iterative operation for every employee. Say for an example, you want to verify that if the employee is greater than 30 years of age and is a male, give him a 5% hike, versus you want to say if the employee is a female less than 25 age, then give her a 37% of a hike, right? You want to do some conditional logic row by row. You want to do that, you can also maybe the logic remains same, but what happen is every row by row you have to verify what is the age, what is the gender, and depending upon that you want to do a update. I'm not talking about you can write an update query to do everything out in one go. Yes, it is, you can do that, but essentially there may be hundreds of situations where you want to do approach the problem one row at a time. That means you actually say for an example some data rows are missing, or there are a lot of employee address available for employees, right? Because employee can change address throughout its journey, throughout its tenure in the company. So what HR found out that every employee has 5, 7, 8 address available. Let us identify which addresses are important for the employee record to be kept. So they have instructed go for every employee, identify the employee record, and then go iterate through the employee address table to figure out whether there are some employee addresses that we can delete depending upon certain logic. If those kind of thing we have to handle, then we have to implement a looping construct. Okay. And there is another construct available in SQL Server known as if-else condition block. In case you want to write any conditional evaluation logic, if you have done C, C++ or Java or Python, any kind of programming, every programming programming language has these two constructs inherently available. There will be a looping construct to iteratively do the same thing again and again, and if-else condition block to do conditional computation of the logic. Okay. And yesterday we did see that the loop is a technique where a set of statements are executed repeatedly until the condition is met, right? Uh, Also, we did see the structure of the while condition this way yesterday. While a particular condition is true, you start the begin block, then you write your condition or the logical flow, and then you write the end block. That is what a simple while loop look like. Let us understand how does that particular look like. Say for an example, I want to print a number. I want to print number between 1 till 30. That is what my ambition is. How do I do that? What I'm going to do, I will declare a local variable. Okay, this is how you declare a local variable in SQL Server. What keyword you will use? Declare any variable. The variable starts with the @ sign. In SQL, variable starts with the @ sign, and then you will say the data type of the particular variable. You will say declare @I, and it is an integer type of variable. I will set the value of that particular variable to 1. So how do I set the value? I will set the initial value to 1. So declare @I int, declare the variable, set @I equal to 1, set the value of that particular variable. Okay, what is the variable? Variable is a named address location. It is a programming construct available across the programming language. A variable holds temporary data on memory. Where does it hold? It holds the data on the memory. Now I want to see what value is there within the variable. Let's see what value is there within the variable. If I execute this 3, I can see that I declared a variable I. I'm setting the value of the variable to 1, and I can see the value is set to 1. Correct? I'm showing the select value of that particular variable. Okay. Now my ambition is to print number between 1 till 30. How do I do that? I know I have a looping construct available known as while loop within SQL Server. What I want to do, I know if I want to print a number, I can use a command called as print @I. Select query gives you the so if you see my messages grid, there are two grids. One is known as the results window, one is known as the messages window. When you write a select query, the result come into the results window. When you write a print message, it goes to the messages window because print is a message command. Okay, when you write a print, it will go to the message window. Let's see what happened. If you see here, the select output, the select commands output is coming to the select grid, the result grid. I will say as a result and print I. Okay, see this particular grid is coming as a result from the select query, but the print message value is going to the messages window. If you see this one is printed here, this is coming from this print command. So I know I have two options of printing the value. Either I can use the select query to show the result, or I can use the print command to show the result. So in the subsequent thing, what I'm going to leverage is I'm going to write a while loop. While a particular condition is true, while a particular logic is true, you go ahead and start doing the loop till that particular point. Loop means what? You repeat the same condition again and again and again. What would you do? While @I is less than or equal to 30. You are starting with value of 1. I'm starting with value of 1. While the value of I is less than or equal to 30. If the condition is true. When it is entering, value of I is 1. So 1 is less than equal to 30. That is true. So what it will do, if the condition is true, then the logic within the begin and end will be followed. What it would do? It would print the value of I. Print the value of I will be 1. Then what it would do? I'm setting the value of I equals to whatever value it was having plus 1. So when it entered into the loop, the value was 1 because it is the first time it is entering. But next time what I'm doing, set the value of the same variable by 1 plus 1. The previous value was 1 plus 1. So the new value of I is 2. Now it will go and evaluate the condition again. What it will do? While 2 is less than equal to 30. That is true. Again, come into the loop, print 2 and set the value of equal to I equal to 2 plus 1, which is 3. So now verify whether the value of I equals 3 is less than or equal to 30 or not. Whether value of 4 less than equal to 30 or not. 5 less than equal to 30 or not. It will go and evaluate up to 29. 29 plus 1. 29 is definitely less than 30. So it will come here. 29 plus 1 equal to 30. whether 30 is less than or equal to 30. It is definitely not less than, but it is equal to 30. So it will enter back, it will print the value of 30. After printing the value, what it will say? It will say set at the rate I equal to 30 plus 1, which will be 31. Now, when it comes to the while loop, what will happen? Whether 31 is less than or equal to 30? False. So it will come out of the loop. It will break the loop here, right? So that is how the loop works. If I have to just show you how does it work holistically, this is how it is going to work. I will stop this print because it will show you. You'll be confused why two ones are coming. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 30 is getting printed. This is how you can build a simple loop. Now, if I have to actually talk about an conditional loop, I want to print numbers between, I want to print number between 10 to 50, but you break when it is 30. I want to, there is a keyword available known as break within the loops also, right? Say for an example, the loop is happening. You can break out of the loop during the evaluation only. Is that correct? Because the loop will be evaluated at the while condition level. That is what I have explained. The loop will break when the condition is met. But what you want to do, that you entered into the loop. Say for an example, a particular condition found to be true. You are declaring a variable I and you are assigning the value to 10. So initially you are assigning a variable I whose value is 10. Next, what you want to evaluate while I is less than equal to 50. 10 is less than equal to 50. Okay, fine. Let's enter in the loop, print the value of I. Now next set the value of I equal to I plus 10. So you entered as 10, next value will be 20. What I want to do, the loop will continue printing the value till the value is less than 50, less than or equal to 50. So I should have been able to print 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Why? Because I is going to increment the value by 10, 10, 10, 10 point, and I have a logic written print at the I, right? I will just comment this particular block. Let's see what is supposed to happen. It is supposed to happen to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Do remember, if within the loop you want to come out of the loop after evaluating something within the loop. I know I can break out of the loop once my condition of the while query is met, right? Till that particular point, the loop will continue. But if within the loop you want to evaluate something and you want to break, there is a statement available known as break that will break the execution of the flow within the while loop, and it will take the control out of the while loop. Let us understand what I am doing here. What I am evaluating here, if in between this addition operator, verify if the value of I becomes 30 at that particular condition you break out. I have written that particular condition. Okay. Can you see now after 10 and 20, it didn't print 30, 40, 50. You know why? Why? Because when the value of I become 20, then 20 plus 10 will be 30. And I have written a keyword known as if I equal to 30, you use break keyword to break out of the loop. So do you remember there is a keyword available within the loop, break, that in case from within the loop you want to take the control out to the out of the looping construct, then use the break condition with a conditional compute. What that conditional compute is? Here I am saying that if my value of the I is equal to 30, then you break out. Even if I know that I want to run the logic for maybe 100, I know that I was supposed to write the logic between I equal to value between x to x, right? But there is a logic written within this that is saying that when the value becomes 30, you break out. So even if the root condition is not met, but within the loop I can break out. Anytime I execute, when the value becomes 30, automatically it will break out of the loop. It will not continue. Had I not have this particular value, it would have actually printed 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 up to 100. Okay, let's go back and ask a few questions. Clear up to this particular point, whether it is clear? Student, is it clear? Srini, you have question? Uday Kiran, clear sir. Sandhya saying clear. Are there any critical cases for break condition? Bijay, would you like to unmute and ask the question in a thematically? I don't understand the particular question. What do you mean? What do you mean by are there any critical cases for break condition?
Uh, my question is like, in reality, if we are going inside the loop, if the loop keeps on going forever, if we want to break the total loop for within some time, can we use the break condition like that?
Not really. In the reality, you will not use the break condition. I'm just giving you the construct. Do remember you have written a loop for you to complete that loop. Is that a particular understanding correct? You have written a loop
Yes.
because you want to print the number between 1 to 100. Why would you not print a value between 1 to 100? If you don't want to
Uh,
print, then exclude those during your conditional computation, right? You can say, I'm just giving the answer. Just Vijay, listen, I got your perspective. Just wait so that you can understand better. Do remember, if you have written a loop, that means your intention is to loop through the entire data set. Is that understanding correct? Print the value between 1 to 100. I want to print the value between 1 to 100. But somebody want to say, print only if the value is even number. Is that understanding correct? If somebody says only print the even numbers, that can be a question.
yes.
They say only print the odd numbers. Somebody say only print the prime numbers. Somebody say print the Fibonacci series number, right? If you want to compute those values, how do you do that? First thing, and second thing, you want to ignore all those odd number. You are printing values between 1 to 100. Wherever the value itself is the odd number, you will write a computational logic. If the value itself is an odd number, don't print. You will write that particular condition. We'll do that in some time ahead. But why the break is used? In case while writing the computational logic, your logic say don't process further when you hit this particular point. That means you are computing, you are trying to find out a data glitch, right? And you have written a particular logic to figure out where is the first occurrence of the data glitch. So when you found that particular logic met, your if condition met, that particular condition that actually tries to evaluate where is the data glitch. Where is your data glitch? You break out that particular point so that I can figure out where is my fast interaction, or where is my fast occurrence of the data glitch has happened, right? To do that, those kind of break statement can be leveraged within a loop. Hope this gives you a explanation.
Yes, sir. And what if we get stuck in infinite loops? Can we use the break statement to get out of
No,
it?
no, no. If you are there with an infinite loop, you have to close the query window. There is no other way to break it out. Okay, because okay, let me show you, but it will crash my machine, so I can show it. Typically, if I write that my SQL Server Management Studio has to be actually entirely restart. There is no other way to break out of the loop. Like in other programming language, you do that escape, you do that control C, you do the control close, right? A lot of other constructs are available in different programming language. In SQL, if you enter into the infinite loop, your this red arrow will not work. Either you try to do the red button. If it responds, then it is well and good. If it does not, then you have to restart your SQL Management Studio. That is the only way of killing your loop. So while writing your loop, be very specific and sure that you have evaluated your conditions properly, or else you will end up in an infinite loop. Infinite loop means what? It will run forever. It will never stop. There is a condition written in such a way that it will never stop. Sir, by
Thank you, sir.
using break, okay. So by using break, can we break only one value? It is not on only one value you are breaking. You are breaking out of the loop. Okay, let me show you what happens. Watch carefully, Manideep. Can you see? I am starting the value at 10. I'm saying that the loop should continue from 10 till 100. Okay, that is what my condition say. From if the value is less than equal to 100, you continue. So I'm starting at 10, so the value should continue till 100. But if you see, it has started continuing printing the value up to 29, but after 29 it stopped printing the value. Why? Because within the loop it found one condition where it is saying if the value of I becomes 30, you break out. If this is my condition, this particular condition is actually the breaking condition. So if you are thinking, sir, by using a break, can we break only one value? We are not breaking a value. We are breaking out of the loop. So if you see what I'm saying, you are saying this. If a particular condition is true, break. Clear about that? If a particular condition is true, you break out of this entire loop. You don't go further. So it didn't go further after 29 plus 1 become 30 and a condition is met. If I value become 30, don't print further. So I know my first occurrence of glitch I was talking about, right? I was trying to figure out where is my issue. So I wrote a condition that if this particular value becomes null, then you break. So I figured out that this is the first occurrence of the glitch that I wanted to figure out, right? So these are the scenario where you would actually leverage the break condition. Break is not to break an infinite loop. I want to very carefully say break is never meant to break the infinite loop. If you enter into the infinite loop, you hit the red button that will be continuously processing the record, or close the SQL Server Management Studio. These are the only two ways of coming out of loop, coming out of an infinite loop, right? So these are the thing. Let me go back to the slide deck. Let's see what other thing. Yeah, this is a syntax. There are certain conditions. We have seen this particular example. I have given the explanation how we have discussed about how exactly the loops variable goes further. This is again another example. This is a break condition. Okay, this is the nested loop example. Let's see the nested loop example. Okay, a loop within loop is known as a nested loop. Okay, I believe it is there here. Correct. This particular example is a nested loop example. Loop within loop. Okay, nested loop or loop within loop. Okay, what does the loop within loop mean? What I want to do is, this is what my condition is. Do remember, you can write while without a conditional bracket. I would always encourage you to write a conditional bracket like this. Okay, wherever you are evaluating the condition, always put a bracket signature. Okay, what I'm trying to say, concat, you are saying you are starting with I value 10, j value 1. Okay, you're declaring two variable. You're declaring a variable I equal to 10. You are declaring a variable j equal to 1. While the value of I is less than equal to 30. That means when the value of I is less than equal to 30, you entered into the loop. Okay, you are printing concat I equals to 1. You will say print value of I equals to 1. Okay, then you will say j, when the value is j less than equal to 3, begin end. Okay, again this is a small loop within that. Okay, I'm entering into a loop while value is I equal to less than 30. Okay, I'm within the loop, I am writing another loop. We'll say where the value of j is less than equal to 3, print concat j equal to 3. That means what I am trying to say, when you first enter into the loop, you will say 10. Then when you pass 10 10, you will print 1 2 3. Okay, j equal to 1 2 3. You will print that. Then you will increase the value of I by 10. So next time you will print 20. Then you will print again 1 2 3. Then you will print 30. Then you will print 1 2 1 2 3. Let's see. Does it work that way? Can you see? A value of I is 10. Then you are saying j equal to 1 2 3. Then the value of I equal to 20. Why? Because the value of j is less than not equal to 3 now. First time it entered, let us verify how did it work. I'm saying, going to say print I am within the nested loop. Print I am in a nested loop. I am in a nested loop. Okay, and also I will do this. I will say print this, then I will say print this too. Okay, I'm doing a construct so that it will look easy to understand. Let's see what happened here. So first time it entered as I equal to 10. Okay, next time it is printing I am in a nested loop. First value of j is printed. Okay, first time for value of I equal to 10 it entered the loop. It is the outer loop. Okay, now it is saying I am in the nested loop, value of j equal to 1. Then it is saying I am in the nested loop, value of j equal to 2. Then it is printing I am in a nested loop, value of j equal to 3. Right now this particular loop breaks when the value of j becomes to 3. So it will break out. Now next time the value of I gets incremented. The value of I gets incremented by 10. So now the value of I becomes 20. So 20 is less than equal to 30, right? But then when the value tries to enter into the loop, it will verify while the value of j is less than equal to 3. Last time the value of j equals to 3, right? So now the value of j was 3 plus 1 equal to 4, right? So now 4 is never going to be less than equal to 3. So if you see for I equal to 20, it never evaluated the second block of loop. It never evaluated the second block of loop. If I want to process the second block, then what would I do? I know after doing this particular exercise, the value will hit a particular point at 4. If I reset the value of j to 1, then this particular loop will start printing the value of 1, 2, 3 for every block of outside of the block, right? So if I say set at the rate j equals to 1 again. Okay, while coming out of the loop I am setting the value of j to be 1 because I know this internal block must have incremented the value of j. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 would be 4. So next time when I want to go to process 20, it will set the value of j equal to 1 so that it can continue. Let's see what happens now. For 10 it will say I am inside loop, I am inside loop, I am inside loop. Correct, I am inside loop. Now for 20 it is saying I am inside loop. Again, I am inside loop, I am inside loop, I am inside loop. Okay. For value 30, I am saying I am inside loop, I am inside loop, I am inside loop. Can you see that? So what happened? If I did not reset the value, the first time the value was not getting reset. First time the value was going up to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next time onward, it was always evaluating for 20. I was actually 4. So 4 is never less than equal to 3. So it was never entering into the loop at all, right? For the value 30, the value was not entering into a loop, right? So in case you will encounter such kind of situation where you have to write a loop within the loop, you can use this particular construct. Okay, where would you use it depends upon the situation, what kind of situation you are in, where you have to find out the first value, then go into looping through the record set for the second set of value. If you have to do that, then loop within the loop is the structure. Clear about the concept here? Any question? What if I want to break only 30 and continue from 40 again? What if I only want to break, just a second please, sorry. So what is the question? What if I want to break only 30 and continue from 40 again? Okay, I believe this particular question is from Bishnu. Let me show you what you want to do. Okay, can I do this? I believe Vishnu did not get the concept of break. Break means you are breaking out of the loop. You are not breaking the value. If you want to print the value other than 30, then I would say 10. You don't want to print 30. Okay, what you are thinking, brick means not printing a value. Let me tell you that. If you want to write this, if the value is less than 30 or greater than 40, then print. Let's see what happens here. First time it is printing. 10, 20, it did not print 30, then it is printing 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, you wanted to print, you don't want to print 30, but you wanted to print anything above or equal to 40. Can I do that? Yes, I can do that. If you're looking for this construct, it doesn't need a break even. Can you now see 10, 20, there is no 30 in between, and it started continuing printing from 40 to 100. Did you get, Vishnu, your question's answer? It doesn't need a break statement at all. Break means breaking out of a loop. You want to come out of the loop altogether. But if you want to do a conditional compute, you can do this particular conditional compute. Print a value when a particular condition is met. Right? Are you getting, Vishnu? Would you like to unmute, please? Vishnu. Kalyan Vishnu, is it? Kalyan, would you like to unmute? Hope you have got it. Kalyan Vishnu saying yes, sir. Okay, fine. Now let us go back to the construct again. Let's see. Yeah, this is a looping example for the date range. Say for an example, I have given a date range. I want to print some value between the date range. Can I do that? Yes. The loop works for integer data and the date time type of data. Okay, this is a loop example. Let's see the loop using date. Loop using date time. Okay, how do you do that? You declare an initial variable start date. I'm declaring date start date. I'm declaring a date variable called as end date, and the data type for the date time is date. Okay, I'm saying that these are two local variables that I'm saying, that is a data type with date. I'm saying there is a loop date. Okay, this is my incrementer variable. I'm saying my start date of the date is uh, 11 November 2020, and my end date of my date is 12th of December 2020. I want to print all the date between these two dates. Okay, 11th November 2020 till 12th of December 2020, print all the date. That is what my logic is. Okay, I'm saying that my set my looping date to be the date start. This is my third variable, that I variable that I was using here, the I variable. Okay, initial variable. So I'm saying set the loop date to the start date. Whatever the start date variable is holding, you start the loop date with that. Okay, that means essentially it will become 11th of November. My loop start date is 11th November, so loop date becomes 11th November. While my loop date is less than or equal to loop date end. That means while 11th of November 2020 is less than or equal to 12th of December 2020. That is what the condition will evaluate. When the initial value of the date, that is 11th of November 2020, is less than or equal to 12th of November 2020, you go ahead and print all the date in between. Okay, what I'm going to say, print the loop date. Whatever the date comes, a loop date. And then how do I add on the function of a date to the next date? There is a date add function we have already seen. Date add. add the date by 1 day, right? Date add, day format, you add 1 day. How many days you want to add? 1 day to the loop date. This is my looping construct, right? So I will go ahead and print all the date between these two, start date and end date. It started with 11th November, 12th November, 13th November. It continued till 12th of December. That is my breaking condition. So what I wanted to print, I wanted to print two value between two dates. So I can use these two looping construct to print the value of the dates. Sorry, I did not paste this thing in the chat window. You can also try. I have sent it. Just try on your end. Go. Then I would say again, Control V, send to all. Then I will say this, send to all. You can try all these examples that I'm giving. Okay, fine. Now we will talk about the if-else condition. Let's see. The same example is printed here. In case you want to actually insert this particular date, whatever date is generated, and you want to store data into the temp table, I have given an example. Don't get confused. I haven't started teaching about the temp table. We'll have a dedicated session around it. My logic was, if you want to store this data within a table, can I do that? Whatever data is generated out of this particular loop, can you actually store this data into a temp table? If so, how do you do that? Just understand there is a construct available known as temporary table. A table that is created with a hash signature is a temporary table. So what I'm trying to do, that I want to drop a table if that exists, and then the same logic, verify that. But within the loop, I am actually trying to insert the generated date, whatever date value this loop date contains, insert the date into with this particular date value generated within the loop. That all the date between these two dates should be inserted into a table. That is what my logic is. So within the loop, I'm inserting the data within the loop, and then select start from dates and drop the table if it exists. If you see that, okay, same result, I stored inside a SQL Server table, and then I am selecting the data from a table. This is a real business case where you want to generate a certain value between some data, and then you want to store that data in a table. You can leverage this particular construct. What you are going to do, within the loop, I am trying to insert the value of the generated value within that particular box. That is where the real business case comes, where you want to actually insert the data from within the loop, right? Now, during the cursor example, we tried to iterate through the product and pricing. Is that understanding correct? This is what we tried to traverse through the product, price, and unit. This is what we did, right? Can I do the same logic within using a loop? I want to show the product name and unit price of the product table. Can I do that using a loop? Let's try it. Okay, I'm going to do this. What I would do, I will say you have a creator simple create table hash temp. I'm creating a temporary table again. Create table hash temp, and then I will say, what would you store this value within that? I will say product name, product name, varchar 100 and product price, unit price, unit price is decimal, maybe decimal 12 2. Okay, then what I would do, I will say insert all the values that is available, insert into the temp table, the table that you have created recently, by selecting all the data from this particular query. Whatever data is coming out of this particular query, the product name and unit price, you select all the data and insert into this new table. This is the new structure I can use. Create a table and insert into the new table by selecting the data from other table. This is the insert query structure that we have already seen. So what I would do, first I will do the create table, step 1. Then I'm step 2, inserting the data record into a temp table. Then I want to iterate through the result. Okay, what I will say, declare. I will also add a column. Sorry about that. I would add a column called as ID, int, identity. I know identity means what? I'm instructing SQL Server, you manage the value of this particular column value, right? And start the value with 1 and 1. So what I will do, first I will drop table. I'll say drop table if exist, hash temp. Drop table if exist, hash temp. Then create table. Okay, done. Then I would say create table. Then I'm inserting all the record. Then I'm declaring a variable, declare at the rate I equal to int. Set the value of I equals to 1. I can write a loop while at the rate I now there is an interesting piece. I will do another variable at the rate cnt int. I will set the value of I equal to 1. I will set the value of count variable, cnt variable, to select count of id from hash temp. Whatever number of rows are available within hash temp, count how many rows are available. Say for an example, this particular select query produced 78 rows. So this particular query select count of id from hash temp, because I am actually inserting all the data into the hash temp. I'm saying count up number of ids within the hash temp. It will return 78. So the value of 78 will be assigned to the count variable. What I'm trying to say, while at the rate I is less than or equal to cnt, you do this. You want to cnt begin end, always do set at the rate, else I will end up set at the rate I equal to at the rate I plus 1, and then I will say select star from hash temp where id equals to at the rate I. Okay, this is what I will do. Where select star from hash temp where id equal to at the rate I, and then towards the after my exercise is done, I will actually drop table again. Okay, let's see whether it is able to, whether I'm able to print all the values of the select query by writing this particular block of code. Can you see what the cursor used to do? Cursor used to display the result one by one row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, and it started printing all the value till the last row. Is that correct? So this is the similar way of implementation where you can actually do the using the looping construct. You can actually travel through all the result of the select query. That is where, if you could remember during the cursor session, I said learn cursor but never use cursor, because if your intention is to iterate through the result of the select query, loop is a better construct over a cursor. The reason being, if you don't write the deallocate cursor statement, it will result in a memory leak issue, and memory leak can cause server degradation or the server outage, right? Because the memory will never be taken back by your operating system. Whatever data will be stored within the within the cursor block, it will be only stored within the memory. So if you do not release the memory by using the deallocate cursor block, it will actually spill the entire memory of the server and the server will crash, right? So understand the SQL cursors. Remember all the 7 steps used to do the same exercise. We did this, right? If you execute the query, it will print all the values like this, right? And it took so much of time to do it. If you see this particular query, it is doing it with a much ease and at a very faster rate. So cursors are slower as compared to the loops. If you see, it completed its exercise, right? So that is the difference between a looping construct and a cursor. Now I will just go to the ifelse. We still have 10 minutes. Let's see what does if else block look like. We have actually used this if condition without our studies also. Do remember, like we have the looping block, you can write a loop condition and then say begin and end. Same way you can actually write a evaluation expression to say if a particular condition is true, then you do some exercise. That is how you can write a if condition. Say for an example, I want to say that declare a variable called as cells, which is the integer value. Okay, let us do this example. In that way you can understand better. So say for an example, I want to say if blocks. So in case you want to write a conditional compute, say for an example, I'm declaring a variable cells of integer type. I'm setting the value of that particular variable to 1000. What I'm trying to say, if the cell value is more than 1 million, right? If is it million 1 2 3 4 5, so 10 million, I'm saying it is a 10 million value. If my cell value is greater than 10 million, then you print grid, the sales amount in 2022 is greater than 10 million, the million value, right? I want to print this particular message, right? If it is greater than that, then you print it. That is what I want to do that. So say for an example, I want to do that. Does it print the value? No, command completed successfully, but no message printed. Why? The value is only 1000, right? Or say for an example, I want to say now the value is exactly 1 million. Will it print the statement? Let's see. It still didn't print the value. But if I make it 1,000,001, definitely it would print. Why? Because this value is greater than this value. And I'm computing when the cell value is greater than this particular value, you print this particular block. So let's see. Can you see now? Great, the sales amount of this is greater than this particular value, right? So if you want to do a conditional exercise, you can leverage a if condition. How you write that? If a particular condition is true, right? If you want to do always, like I was recommending while loop, always write your condition within a brackets. That is the best practice. If this particular condition is true, begin and end block. Within this block, whatever you want to do the exercise, please do. Okay. If you want to say the number is a even number or odd number, say for an example, I would say go, I will declare another variable. I will say declare at the rate int. Then I will say set at the rate I equals to 2, right? And I want to say if do remember, how do you know a particular number is an even number or an odd number? These are questions that might come in the interview. Pay attention to. Okay, a number is a even number or odd number if the number remainder you divided by 2 gives a remainder of 0. Is that correct? If the number is completely divisible by 2, then it is a even number. If the number is not completely divisible by 2, it is an odd number. Is that correct? 2 by 2, there is no remainder. 4 by 2, no remainder. Remainder is all 0, right? So in SQL, there is an operator known as percentage operator. Let me show you what it does. Select 4 modular percentage 2. This particular operator returns you the remainder of a division. Can you see that? 0. Remainder of 4 by 2, it is saying that there is no remainder left. It is completely divisible. If I divide 4 by 2, the fractional element that will come is 2. Answer is 2. The remainder of this operation will become 0. But if I divide 4 by 3, it will not be completely divisible and remainder will come as 1. Is that correct? Remainder is 1. If you divide 4 by 3, 3 will go one complete time, but there will be one remainder left out of that, right? That is what a percentage operator does. So if you want to compute 6 modular percentage 2, any number if completely divisible by 2, then it is an even number. Is that correct? And if a number is completely divisible by 2, the modular operation returns a value of 0. So if I leverage this particular value for my computational, then I can identify whether a number is an even number or an odd number. How do I do that? I will say if I know if I divide any number, if I divide any number modular percentage by 2, if the number results equal to 0, then it is a, if I divide the number, if I divide the number by 2, if the result is coming as 0, that means it is an even number. Is that understanding correct? I can say begin, end, print, number is a is a even number. Okay. I'm trying to print whether 2 is an even number or not. Yes, 2 is an even number because 2 modular percentage 2 equal to 0. So because this particular condition met, it said that it is an even number. Let's try with 3. It didn't print anything. Why? It is not an even number. We have a logic available known as if and else condition. Okay, if the first condition is true, you enter into that, but if the condition is not true, then go into the else block. It is the same construct. If you are coming from the C++ background, the same way you write the if else condition, here also you write the same else condition. Only thing is, over there you use the curly brace, here you are writing begin end. Can you say if this particular condition is true, you execute this block. If this condition is not true, then you execute this block, else block. If condition is true, you do this. If condition not true, then you do this. Okay, then I will say print number is an odd number. Number is an odd number. Okay, let's exercise this. Number is an odd number. Why? Because 3 is not completely divisible by 2, and I'm sure that the result is 3 is an odd number. If I want to print all the number that is coming between 1 till 30 as even or odd number, how do I do that? Can I do that? Number, this is a string to number cannot be added. So what I need to do, number plus, there is an operator known as cast function. Casts a particular data type to another data type. So I know it is an integer data type. So I'll say cast I as varchar 20. Data type and size. You will say cast I value is integer type of data. You cannot add a string to the integer. So you are doing what? String plus string. To convert the I to string type of data, I am saying cast function between this, cast the variable type as or data type. The data type is a string data type. So I will say again plus and single quote. And then I will do the same thing here also. Okay. And if you see here, if I print, this will say number 3 is an odd number. I wanted to embed this 3 within this logic. That is where I had to write this logic. Can I now write this entire thing within the loop? I will say print all the value between I equals to, I set the value I equals to 1. Okay. Can I do a loop here while @I is less than equal to 40? You print all the even number and odd number between 1 till 40. I want to do that exercise. You tell me whatever even and odd numbers are available between 1 till 40, you print that. How do I do that? I'm just writing a if else condition, then I'm putting inside the loop. Done. This is what my loop look like. Tab. What I'm saying, when I'm saying a declare a variable I, set the value of the variable to 1, while I value is less than equal to 40, you start the begin block, you end the block. Within the loop, what should I do? Last statement should be I iterate the value of I, or else I will enter into the infinite loop. then I'm writing an if else condition. What I'm saying, whatever is the value of I, you divide that value with 2 and see if it is equal to 0, then it is an even number. Then if it is not, then it is an odd number. I want to print that value. Let's see what happens if I run through this block. Can you see it is started computing even numbers and odd number. Number 1 is an odd, this is an even, this is odd, this is even, this is odd, this is even, this is odd. Can you see that? This particular logic, if it nested within a loop, you are able to compute all the data, which is the even number and odd number between 1 till 40. That is how you can compute a if else block. Correct? If you want to compute, there is another construct of the if is available known as if else if ladder. Okay. This is the if and else block we have seen. This example is if and else block. Yeah, this is another example where you can actually compute between two number which is greater, right? There is a construct in if else if available which does what is greater than which one. So you can see this. What I will say, I am declaring a number of integer type. Integer or int. I will do int, setting the value of two variable to 20 and 30, and I'm just saying if the first number is greater than the second number, print the first number is greater than the second number. Else if the second number is greater than the first number, you print the second number is greater than the first number. If both conditions are not meeting, can you see if the number is greater than the second number, else if the second number is greater than the first number, if both conditions are not true, then else the number is equal, right? So if I run this particular condition, I will say that second number is greater than the first number. Why? Number 2 is 30, first number is 20. If I make this 30 or this I make 40, then it will say first number is greater than, this will say first number is greater than the second number, right? If I say both the number 40, then it will say both the numbers are equal. That is what the construct of if else is, right? We'll continue from here in the next statement. I will continue the if else condition block. I will send the code for your exercise. I'm just giving both this block so that you can practice. Any question? We can close the session now. Any further question? Audio not clear. Any question, students? It is mandatory to mention semicolon? No, absolutely not. It is not. In SQL Server, the semicolon is optional. In other programming language, in MySQL or Oracle, the syntaxes semicolon is a must. Depending upon some construct, in SQL Server, definitely semicolon is not mandatory. Okay, perfect. Thank you, student. I will send you all the deck and stuff. We'll continue from the if else block starting tomorrow. Okay, and then we'll go into the data types and study what kind of data types are supported, and then venture into the SQL Server writing custom function, the function by ourselves. Okay, thank you all.